this is one topic which I have spoken in many platforms, which has always excited me. Exponential technologies. I think as entrepreneurs, I think most of you sitting here would have entrepreneurial aspirations, right? Anybody without that? I would ask that question. So anybody who has got entrepreneurial aspirations today need to understand technology, how technology is evolving, and how some organizations have utilized these technologies to come out with models or products which are packaged, which are today in many ways irresistible to us as customers. In the recent past, we have started hearing words like artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, synthetic biology, blockchain. All these words have sort of started bombarding on us in the recent past. And today, I'm not too much of a technical person, but I try to understand how technology is being packaged by organizations and how that is changing our lives. So I'll be talking more today about how technology has changed our lives in the past, how organizations have used technology, packaged it, and changed our lives, and how it is going to change in the days to come. So basically, there is a shift in thinking which has happened in the recent past. In the last 100 years, we have seen so much of changes happening. But before that, think about mankind before that. What was life like for a man 100 years or more backward? Life was local and linear. What was life like? Like a man's world was limited to the distance that he could walk in a day. And that was a man's world. But today, we have come to in the last 100 years, we have seen the transformation of mankind from linear and local to global and exponential. Today, we are able to travel from one continent to the next continent in less than 24 hours time. So we have seen this transformation happening in the last 100 years. And again, over the next 30 years, we are going to see a further transformation when we are going to see the transformation of mankind from a single planetary species to a multiplanetary species. So this is the way the transformation is happening around us. And again, as mankind, over the last, in fact, we have recorded history of the last 2000 years. And only in the last 100 years, we have seen this transformation happening. So as human beings, we are wired to think local and linear. And it is up to us to change that thinking to be able to change with the opportunity of the times. If you see organizations like Facebook, Amazon, Uber, Google, Airbnb, these are all organizations which have packaged technology. They package technology to benefit mankind. And again, many of these organizations have actually democratized technology. Now think about it. Son of Mukesh Ambani, who has got educated from Wharton University, versus the son of an auto rickshaw driver based in Calicut. Today, what is the kind of information both these people possess? Both these people would depend on Google for information. See, what Google has done is democratized information, demonetized information. And again, it is, in fact, there is no class difference there. Whether it is Mukesh Ambani's son, whether it is the son of an auto rickshaw driver, information is freely available. They have demonetized information. They have democratized information. And again, think about it. Years back, every time we wanted to purchase something, my younger days, we used to do that only when we go to Bangalore. The latest fashion, the latest design used to be in terms of dress or textile or whatever it is. It used to be available only in Bangalore. But think about it today. Today, in your mobile app, in your mobile, through Amazon, you can purchase the latest fashion, the latest trend. Everything is available online. So these are the kind of changes that successful companies have brought around us. Again, think about Uber. Uber again is all these companies have used technologies to create products which are global and exponential in nature, not confined to local and linear. So I think it is very important. But we as humans are wired to think local and linear because that is how we have evolved over the years. It is up to us as entrepreneurs to change this thinking, and only then we can come out with products which are truly global and exponential. Now let us try to, I think all of you would know about these companies. So what is it that Facebook has done? Again, think about it. The Me Too incident that we are seeing today, if not for Twitter, if not for social media, what would have happened to that? A media mogul, a religious leader, a businessman, all these people could come together and suppress information till about 10 years back. But what is that has happened now? Social media, thanks to Mark Zuckerberg, who initiated it and who is still the market leader in that particular space, through Facebook, through Instagram, through WhatsApp. Today, we have come to a stage where nobody, even a media mogul, cannot suppress information. Previously, there was a time when a media mogul could do that. But today, we have come to a stage where nobody can do that. It is not possible for anybody to do that. Information has been demonetized, democratized. Nobody can control it. Nobody can suppress it. So that is what Facebook has done, Mark Zuckerberg has done. Amazon, I told you. Uber, again, Uber has sort of democratized, demonetized the automobile industry. Today, most advanced nations, people are getting away from the ownership of cars. They don't see any point in owning a car, because we are going to see the transformation of car as a product to car as a service. That transformation we are about to witness. And again, what has Airbnb done? I think any of you sitting here who doesn't know about Airbnb, should I speak about that? Airbnb, should I speak? Okay, Airbnb was started by two youngsters who were both studying in Rhode Island School of Design in the US. They were staying in and again, unlike India, parents do not subsidize or pay for the tuitions of children there. So most of the students till 12th standard, yes, they get the help of the parents. After that, they are on their own. Their tuition fees, their other expenses have to be met by themselves. So in such a case, two youngsters who were studying in Rhode Island School of Design, they had hired a slightly bigger hall for their accommodation in Rhode Island. And they were finding it difficult to survive with the kind of money they could earn from their part-time work. So, and every year, a design fest, which is considered to be the biggest design fest in the world, happens in Rhode Island, and design professionals from across the globe come to attend this program, from Japan, from India. All these countries design the best design professionals make it a point to attend this event. And during that time, there is acute shortage for hotel rooms, accommodation. And most of the travel agencies, what they do is 1 year before or 2 year before, they block all the hotel rooms there. And again, they sell it at a premium. So this is what was happening, and hotel rooms were in shortage, and these two boys, what they thought was they wanted to make some extra money. So before the event, they thought they'll make some money. And what did they do? They went to a supermarket, bought some air beds. You blow air into that, it becomes a bed. And they had a slightly bigger hall with an attached toilet. So they bought a few beds, laid it in the room, and they advertised airbedandbreakfast.com. That was the name of the first website which they created, airbedandbreakfast.com. And fortunately for them, 3 people, on the first day of the event, 3 people came and stayed there. And it is history that one of them was an Indian. And that was how they started. And again, after the event, they started continuing, they started thinking on these lines. And later on, they brought in a third person, a Harvard graduate, also into their team. And they shortened the name, made it Airbnb, bed and breakfast, Airbnb. And today, Airbnb is a brand which has got presence around the world. Any rural part in the world, you Google and search Airbnb, you will have homestays there. They are the #1 homestay provider in the world, and they are in fact the biggest competitor to the hotel chains today. It is not Hyatt competing with Taj or any other hotel chain, but it is the biggest threat, the nightmare any hotel chain today faces, the threat from Airbnb. And they have in the process created a company with a valuation of about $31 billion. These organizations have packaged technology to benefit common man. They have democratized, demonetized technology. Now let us try to visualize how some sectors are going to change in the days to come. First, let us start with power and transportation. See, what is happening in the power sector? See, till recently, the biggest contributor to power was fossil fuel. And again, in the last 100 years, we have seen the emergence of places which have fossil fuel as economic powers, especially the Middle East. But what is happening now? Renewable energy is taking over the power sector. And again, the market leader in renewable energy, anybody can say who it is? Norway. Norway is the #1 in renewable energy. Almost their entire power requirement is met from renewable energy. They have solar, they have windmills, all that. And one of the most successful player in renewable energy space is, again, an industrialized nation is Germany. Today, if you see, out of the total power requirement of Germany, 85% comes from renewable energy. And again, many of you sitting here would know that unlike India, they do not have solar power. They are not located close to the equator. But still, they are able to, in spite of being an industrialized nation, they are able to meet 85% of their power requirement from renewable energy. Anybody can guess how they are able to do that? I think all of you should start reading. Their major power source is floating windmills. They have a huge coastline, and they have erected floating windmills around the coastline. So wind and from the coastal areas, what they are depending on. Today, 85% of their power requirement, in spite of being an industrialized, highly industrialized nation, 85% of their power requirement comes from renewable energy. Now, again, if you see the leading automobile companies today, they are literally sweating. They have absolutely no clue where technology is moving. And again, Again, in the automobile industry, there is a small disruptor who produce only 5,000 cars a week. What is the name of that disruptor? Tesla, yes. Okay. Tesla, for the first time, has proven that electric cars are way, way superior to petrol or diesel driven cars in terms of technology, in terms of reliability, in terms of endurance. All these factors, Tesla has proven that electric cars are way better than the conventional cars. Again, just to give you an example, see, an electric engine, an electric car doesn't need a gearbox. Think about it. See, for every moving part, every additional moving part in a car is an additional maintenance cost to the owner. And again, when a car doesn't need a gearbox, not only the reduction of cost, it is also reduction of maintenance cost. So today, if you see, in fact, one of the most reliable car available today, which is being used by taxi segment across the world, is Toyota, because it is said that any Toyota would run a minimum of 5 lakh kilometers without major repair. But that being said, what an electric engine can do is any electric car, even the worst made manufactured car, can run at least 10 lakh kilometers without much maintenance. So that is what we are looking at. That is the kind of transformation that is happening. On top of that, there is another thing called autonomous driving, driverless cars. That is also a space which Tesla and again Google through Waymo, many of these companies, Waymo, few other companies, Auto, another company which is into autonomous trucks. All these companies are working on that particular space. So all these put together, we are going to see a disruption, a major disruption happening in the automobile industry. And all the leading companies, you name it, Volkswagen, Toyota, which were always weighing for number 1 and number 2 position in the automobile industry, they have absolutely no clue what is about to happen in the automobile, because for them it is something which they are not able to comprehend, they are not able to understand. Today, world has come to a stage where there are two types of automobile manufacturers. Manufacturers who are trying to fix a computer into a car, and again manufacturers who are building wheels onto a computer. And Tesla is into the second category. They are actually building a wheel onto a computer, because it is more of a computer than a car. And again, Tesla, those of you who have read, like an Android phone, like a iOS phone, you get upgrades frequently. So autonomous driving also, every month, every 2 months, they send upgrades, and all the upgraded features come into the new car. It is not necessary to sell your car and buy a new car to get an upgrade of a feature. You would all remember the original Nokia phones that we used to have. We wanted a new feature, we had to sell the phone, buy a new one. But today, with Android, new features come to us. In fact, I use OnePlus. In fact, they have already provided the 60 upgrade in OnePlus 6. So this is the way things are changing, things are happening, and this is the kind of car which Tesla makes, which organizations like Toyota and Volkswagen, which were supposed to be market leaders, who are not able to comprehend, who are not able to understand. So these are the kind of technologies which are changing the car industry. And again, another information is, on an average, if you see, in fact, recent PricewaterhouseCoopers study, which was conducted recently, which gauged that on an average, a car is only used 4% of the time. Like, you are going to your office in the morning, you're leaving your car there, maybe for lunch you will go back home, again after lunch you come back, again the car is lying there, you go back home in the evening, maybe you go for a movie or a dinner, but after that again night time the car is lying there idle, not being used. But think about the future with autonomous cars coming in. Maybe I'll go to my office, send my car back home. My wife would go somewhere else. She'll do the shopping. After that, again, after my wife's work is finished, the same car would be used by my daughter, and multiple uses. And again, by noon, if the car is to come back to my office, what will I do then? I'll lease my car out to Uber or Ola to make some extra money, which means even in the evening, if once I'm back home, I would still not be wasting my car. I would hire my car to Uber or Ola to be used, which means I'll make money in the process. Again, in the process, what will happen is the number of cars which I own, that will come down, because my wife doesn't need a separate car, my daughter doesn't need a separate car. And again, the time when I'm not using it, it is being used by Uber or Ola to provide car as a service. So what is going to happen over the next 10 years? We are going to see the transformation of car, the usage of car from 4% to 40%, which means what is 10 cars today would become 1 car tomorrow. So number of cars which are going to be plying on the road in the days to come is going to be reduced. So this transformation also we are going to witness. And again, we thought, see, 2 transformations we are seeing. Number 1, the transformation from fossil fuel to renewable energy. Number 2, owner-driven or driver-driven cars to driverless cars. And again, most of us would think that, okay, this is the ultimate, the transformation of car from a product to a service. At least some of us would think that this is the ultimate. No, that is not the ultimate. Another new product which is coming up recently is something called VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing aircrafts, again pilotless. There are 2 companies which have gone way ahead into the space. One is a company called Kitty Hawk, and another is a company called Lilium. If you Google, you can find out about these companies. Both these companies have come out with vertical takeoff and landing aircrafts, electric driven, no fossil fuel, no petroleum or aviation fuel, electric. The Lilium product can run a distance of 300 kilometers with 5 passengers. The product from Kitty Hawk is a 2-seater model called Cora. It can run 150 kilometers, and again the traveling speed is 150 kilometers per hour. So think of a world, maybe 20 years from now, a world where we do not need roads. Imagine a world where I am invited as a speaker somewhere. Again, since these companies have become very successful, or they are making a lot of progress, even Uber has created a new division called Uber Air, and they're doing a lot of research on that space. And Uber is going to provide, in fact, Uber has already announced that by 2023, they are going to start Uber Air services, which means like a taxi, you can call wherever you are. You could be in your house, in your hotel. You can call a vertical takeoff and landing air taxi, and it will land on your rooftop. These aircrafts are very light that it can land on almost any house. So imagine a world like that, where, and again, who would be the loser in the process? Our politicians. The amount of money our politicians and bureaucrats make in the process of making our roads. Think about that. So that we might see a world where we will not need that. We will not need roads. So these are the kind of innovations which are happening around us. Basically, I'm speaking about this because as entrepreneurs, as young people, I think you should all start thinking in these lines. You need to get away from these local and linear thinking to exponential and global thinking. So that is the reason why I am speaking about that. Google and find out about these 2 companies. Name one is Kitty Hawk, and Kitty Hawk, one of the investors in Kitty Hawk is Larry Page. Who's Larry Page? Founder of Google, Alphabet. So he's one of the biggest investors in that particular company. And Lilium was a company which is based out of Germany, very successful. And again, for your information, Kitty Hawk recently, about 3 months back, in March, they have signed an agreement with New Zealand government to start Kitty Hawk services in New Zealand. Again, you would know New Zealand is a group of islands, and to travel from one island to the next, they don't have roads. You only have air travel. And they have signed an agreement with New Zealand to start operations there, which is to happen in a year or two. So these are the kind of innovations, disruptions happening around us. Now, see, I'm actually into this habit of monitoring this large investments happening around the world. And any of you, if you want to understand where the world is moving, what are the technological innovations, disruptions which are about to happen in the next few years, if you just monitor the large investments happening around us, you will be able to understand that. I normally do that. And I think in the introduction, it was mentioned, I'm actually a farmer myself. So I'll start with what is happening in that particular space, farming. See, about 9 months back, a company called Plenty Incorporated got an investment of 250 million US dollars. And again, a small unknown company, all of a sudden getting 250 million US dollars. What is 250 million? It is close to 2,000 crores Indian rupee. And for a company to get that kind of an investment, it has to have something. And again, just out of curiosity, I started inquiring about that, trying to Google. And again, any information is available. Google, you get everything. You Google, you go to YouTube. All these informations are available. What is it that they are into? They are into, it was actually formed by a group of scientists who are into vertical farming. They are going to get into this vertical farming space. And they had been doing research for the last 3 to 6 years on vertical farming. And they have come out with a very practical, effective model. And what they are visualizing is every city around the globe with population exceeding 1 million, they are going to set up vertical farms in the immediate suburb of the city. Imagine Calicut is a city with a population exceeding 1 million. So you might see a vertical farm in, say, Chelavur or any nearby place, Villimadunna or Chelavur or Kundamangalam, a vertical farm coming up in a 2 acre or a 5 acre space, again based on the number of the population that the city has. They are going to set up vertical farms in the immediate suburb in 2 to 5 acre plots. And imagine a vertical farm comparable to a 10-story building, having layers of farms, like if it is നമ്മുടെ നാടൻ ചീരയാണെങ്കിൽ, see, ചീര എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് it will grow only to a height of about 2 feet. So that particular layer needs only about 4 feet of height. And again, see, as a farmer, any of you sitting here who have farming experience, there are 2 things required for anything to grow. One is sunlight, one is water. Everything else is secondary. Where does a plant's food come from? Photosynthesis, leaves. So when you construct a vertical farm, where does the sunlight come from? See, what they do is they are going to fix solar panels on all 5 sides, and using the power generated from the solar panels, they are going to have LED lights. And again, they've gone into deep research into this space. What they have found out is, you know what a spectrum is? Rainbow spectrum. Okay. See, in that spectrum, from the 7 colors, only 2 colors are required for photosynthesis. That is an understanding which happened to them, which was very, very incidental in the investment. Only 2 colors are required. Any idea which are the 2 colors? Blue and red. Blue and red. See, blue and red, only blue and red is required for photosynthesis to happen. So what they are going to do, they are going to have LED lights of blue and red color. See, others 5 colors are actually not required for photosynthesis to happen. And again, there are two technologies which have evolved in the farming space recently: aquaponics and hydroponics. Aquaponics is what you do when you have fish farm also associated with that. Hydroponics is where you do farming without soil, only with water and micronutrients. So two things they are doing. One is hydroponics and LED lighting. Using these, they are going to make the freshest of fruits and vegetables on the immediate suburb of every city. And see, as a farmer, the second thing that I know is that, see, normally in a normal day, you have sunlight only for about 6 hours, good sunlight. The rest of the time, like night time, a tree doesn't grow. But when you have light, make the plant to grow 24 hours in a day. So anything that requires, like if you take chira, it takes about 45 days to grow. But in a vertical farm, they might be able to grow it in 10 days. With micronutrients in adequate quantity added to that, it would be possible to grow this in 10 days time. So, and again, more than the money that was invested, what excited me more was the people who invested money into this company, Plenty Incorporated. There were 3 investors. One was Alphabet, the parent company of Google. Again, somebody who does things with a meaning, with a purpose. Second investor was SoftBank. And the third investor who contributed to the 250 million was Amazon. And again, when 3 people like that invest in a startup, it has to have some meaning, some purpose. And again, that was the reason why I started studying that. And this company, believe me, see, 5 years back or 7 years back, none of us thought that Uber from Silicon Valley would come to Cochin. But today it has happened. And probably 5 years, 7 years from now, we might see this company in the immediate suburb of Calicut and Cochin and Trivandrum. So these are the kind of innovations which are happening around us. Again, another company which I follow on a regular basis is a company called Planetary Resources. What are they into? Anybody has read about that? They are into something called asteroid mining. For the last 6 years, they had been studying the movement of asteroids moving around the Earth. And they have identified about 18 asteroids who come very frequently, very close to the Earth. They travel close to that. In fact, they had been studying the path of these asteroids and how often they come close to the Earth, and what are the kind of minerals and metals which are there in these asteroids. And what they are saying is that this is going to be one of the biggest business opportunities mankind is going to see. Some of the rare metals and minerals which are in short supply today might be available in abundance in these planets. Again, for your understanding, see, today, all of a sudden, when there is this shift from fossil fuel to renewable energy, what is required for that? Batteries. See, world is about to witness a shortage of lithium ion in the days to come. So much of lithium ion batteries are going to be required. And again, new technologies are also evolving in storage space, power storage space, not only lithium, other metals and minerals. So some of these minerals and metals, so the demand pattern of many of the metals and minerals which are currently available in abundance might see a shortage in the days to come. And these metals or even replacements for these metals would be needed. And that is going to be available in these asteroids. What they are saying is that it is going to be $1 trillion business, not very far off into the future. So, again, another company, again, speaking about healthcare, there is another company which I follow on a regular basis. It is a company called Human Longevity Incorporated. Anybody read about that? very interesting company. They have a tagline. The tagline is this: to make 100 the new 60. Got it? The health that we possess as human beings at the age of 60, they want to see that it is there at the age of 100, which means they are going to extend the lifespan of a human being by another 40 years. And what they are saying is that it would be possible latest by 2030. 2030, yes, it would be affordable only to the rich and famous. But again, 15 years down the line, by 2045, what they believe is that even that is going to be democratized and demonetized. Anybody would be able to afford this. What are they doing? How are they going to achieve this? They are doing so much of research in different domains. And one particular model which they are trying is they are creating nanobots. What are nanobots? Nanorobots with specific capabilities. What they are going to do is, some of the initial set of clients, they are going to inject these nanobots into their bloodstreams. And the nanobot, what it will do is, it will move around inside the body collecting data, collecting information, which would be transmitted to your smartwatch. And from there, that information will go to your smartphone. Not only that, your IoT-enabled toilet closet, your IoT-enabled wash basin. So every information, your urine, your stool, all that information would be collected on a daily basis, and all that would end up in your smartphone, and from there it would go to a supercomputer which would collate that data, which would study that data and give you recommendations. You will not have to do anything. You will not have to go to a hospital. You will not have to go to a doctor. It will give you based on your affordability. Like Watson is today the #1 in health space. In fact, every recorded data available around the world in healthcare is fed into Watson. So imagine if you are a rich and affluent person, you are able to avail the service of Watson. So all this information which initially come into your smartphone is being sent on a monthly basis to Watson. Watson, which has got data around the world, every recorded history of healthcare industry, data is there. So that information is compared to the data which is being sent from your smartphone, and without your knowing, once a month, a medical recommendation is sent to your phone. See, any disease, before manifesting itself, it takes a fair amount of time to develop inside your body. It could be dengue, it could be cancer, whatever it is. It has to. But imagine a world where the nanobot is able to identify that within a short period of time and send it to your supercomputer, the assistance which you have availed, and the supercomputer is sending you a recommendation on the kind of medicine that you should be taking, or the procedure, the surgery that you should be undergoing. A recommendation is being sent to your phone. So this is the kind of disruption which is about to happen in health space. Unlike, probably it is 15 years down the line, 30 years down the line, but it is happening. No doubt about that. Again, another company which I follow passionately is a company called SpaceX. You know what it is, Elon Musk. What is he trying to do? He is going to transform mankind from a single planetary species to a multiplanetary species. And even Stephen Hawking, about a year back, before his death, he said that if mankind is not able to transform itself from a single planetary species to a multiplanetary species before the end of the century, chances are mankind might become extinct. So this is an absolute necessity for mankind to survive in the days to come. And Elon Musk is fairly confident that by the year 2030, even that is going to become possible. even that is going to become possible. We are going to see the emergence of transformation of mankind from local and linear to a multi-continent species to a multi-planetary species. So that is a kind of transformation that is happening in that space. Another company which I follow on a regular basis is a company called XPrize Foundation. Anybody heard about that? Okay. XPrize Foundation is a group, in fact, a group of people created that organization, and they announce X prizes once in a while. In fact, unbelievable, slightly unbelievable or difficult to achieve goals are being set and prizes are announced. The first X prize was announced in the year 2003. The challenge was this: anybody who could create a space traveling vehicle which can be reused, which can seat 3 people, rug, off you, which can seat 3 people and which can redo the entire exercise in a period of 2 weeks. It has to travel 100 kilometers into outer space, come back, and the same machine has to do the same thing again in a period of 2 weeks. So this was the challenge, and the price was $10 million US. This was announced in 2003. 26 companies from around the globe participated in this challenge. Many of them invested huge amount of money, but in 2004 it happened. A company did it. It created a space traveling machine, a reusable space traveling machine. It carried 3 people. It went 100 kilometers into outer space, came back, and within a period of 2 weeks, it redid the same thing. So, which means first time in the history of mankind, as a reusable space traveling machine was created. And again, what happened to the founders? Immediately, Richard Branson invested $250 million US into that company, and that is today Virgin Galactic. The Virgin has announced a space traveling mission, and in fact, a Japanese person is the first one who's going to travel in the first space traveling machine. He has already paid the advance, and the company got into a tie-up with Richard Branson, and immediately the same day he announced a $250 million US investment. It is going to become a reality. So these are, and again, XPrize Foundation makes lot of socially good, socially relevant XPrizes announcements. And recent past, they have again announced an XPrize. The price is $15 million US. What is to be created is an Android app is to be created, and again they are going to try it out in the tribal communities in Africa. Children who have absolutely no connection with technology or school or education, nothing. They would be given a Android tablet, and within 3 months, the child has to acquire basic communication skills, basic numeric skills, add, subtract, all that. And if the child is able to do that, price is $15 million US. There are many groups like Google, which have sort of pooled in. Anybody who's coming out as a winner is going to get huge investments from organizations like Google. So these are the kind of things which are happening around us. Monitor this company. Even recently, they have space-related, this XPrize Foundation had a space-related challenge, and one group of scientists retired from ISRO is participating in a challenge announced by XPrize Foundation. So much of things are happening around us. Only thing is that entrepreneur and a politician. So all of us, I think, in the days to come, for all of us, it is very important that we understand technology. If we do not understand technology, we become obsolete. And again, one thing that we need to understand that, see, if we are not able to understand technology, we would also become obsolete. Just think about what happened to Nokia as a company. See, I still remember 1995, my buying the first Nokia phone. I was so excited. And again, over the next 10 years, I thought Nokia would eventually take over the world. Every 3 months, they were coming out with new mobile phones, and all of us were sort of glued into that company, what that company is doing, the product they are going to come out with. But see what happened with Apple coming in, with Samsung coming in, they became obsolete. So all of us, if we do not study technology, understand technology, chances are we'll also become obsolete. And once we start understanding technology, I believe each one of us today sitting here has the capacity to create exponential organizations. Think about it. Years back, only a king or an emperor could make an impact to the world. You had to be a king or an emperor or a president or a prime minister. Only then you could impact the world. It could be Alexander the Great or Winston Churchill. But today the world has come to a stage where a young boy sitting with a computer in his own garage can create a product which can grow around the globe. Mark Zuckerberg. See, today we have come to a stage where each one of you have the capability to create products and services which are global and exponential. I wish each one of you success and the ability to create exponential organizations. Thank you.